And we're back. Another week of craziness, huh?
The good kind, though. People can.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a bloodbath on the timeline for everybody. For Texas fans last week, and everybody's like walking back off of the ledge. People are like, okay, I'll shut up now. People are coming for people's jobs, and everyone, all is well in the world of Texas football all of a sudden, which cracks me up.
I know. I love that it also came on a Sunday. Like they knew that the Texas fans needed a blessing on a Sunday because it was chaos. I feel like people were ready to upturn everything with the mass exodus and the way that the portal was going. So to land two on Sunday and it was like back to back announcements was a cure for the Sunday scaries.
You know what's crazy too is like the period for entering ends this week, but like this will still go on for months. It doesn't, doesn't end for an actual while. Like we'll still be talking about this in the spring, summer, like so we Texas fans need to learn a little chill.
We have no patience.
No.
I mean, I think that there is some validity to it all, though, because of the amount of people that were leaving, including some of the players who sort of like dipped their toe in and then like dipped it back out. And we've seen that across the board with several teams, including Caden Durham from LSU. He had announced going into the portal, and he actually now announced he's going to go back to LSU, which good for him. But I think that there was just this like crazy dance for a lot of people, and there was just a certain vibe around it. So it's nice to see the players that we get to retain too. But yeah, I think there was some validity for the feels, but I think the Texas fans also knew the whole time we were trying to put money into the pot for Cam Coleman too. So yeah, patience factor is real.
How do y'all feel about that? I was thinking in my head, I'm like, how would I feel if I'm Coach Sark and I'm the team and a player's like, I'm just gonna like see if the water is like a little bit warmer over there, but then maybe I'll come back home. I don't know. Like
he said how he felt.
He
said how he felt. Like he said that you can't do that. And so, I mean, we were discussing this in our text thread, and I don't know what's transpired since then in terms of his feelings on it, because he was like, once you're out, you're out. Now, that's why I mentioned on our text thread, is it the technicality of like all your paperwork and you are officially in, or are you saying you're going to go in? I think Sark meant if you intend to enter, you're out. And I don't think that that's the case anymore. So I do believe that he sort of had to come off of it because that's just where we're at in the sport in general.
Yeah, I think, because we talked about it of like, okay, he didn't actually enter. So is this different? But now we've seen it a couple others that have done the same, and you've seen it from other schools. You've seen some people say they are committing to one school and then I think it's a ever moving target. And like, you may feel a type of way, but you may have to adjust, just like we're all having to adjust to losing players and what the portal is now and what that means. I can, to a certain point understand it. Like, I don't know that he would be okay with like a player leaving and officially playing somewhere else and then coming back. But who knows?
Right. I was like, but would he? I think he would be okay with that though. Like, I think sometimes like that boomerang situation, like there's those Longhorn faithfuls that we love. Now, Parker he probably ain't getting his jersey back, but maybe some other players, you never know.
The doors slam closed. I know. I feel like I would be like Sark too. It's like 60-40 kind of a thing. If you want to test the water, go test the water. Like you want to leave like this little home that we made for you. Cool. Like we were going to support you on your journey, but don't teeter totter and walk over the line and back and forth.
Yeah. And I think, I tease Parker, but I think part of it, Angie, is like kind of about what you're saying. I think it depends on the conversation they're having with the player, right? Like to me, I think the reason why Longhorn Nation, outside of him like deciding to go to the Sooners of all teams, I think we all saw a place for him in the offense. And I think the coaching staff did as well. And so it was like shocking. I think other players, it's like, let's shake hands. Like this was great development for you. Go be great. Like our quarterback that went to Duke, Malik Murphy, right? So he went to Duke and Oregon State, and it was like, okay, we know he's never going to be the guy here, and we're good with that. And then, like you said, there's these fringe ones where I think, Michelle, back to your comments of it's ever changing. And I think some people are off of the board, just like a draft. And then like the roster starts shaping up and you're like, wait, actually we need this type of player. And so the ones who decide to step back off of that portal ledge, if you will, I wonder if Sark personally called them up, or, you know, Brandon Harris or someone from the staff, because it feels like that's kind of the process.
Yeah, I mean, I was like thinking about it of, you know, how everyone felt last week, even us, we were like, God, there is a good number that are entering. And of course, people ask us a lot of questions and everyone was like, did you see this coming? Did you, you know, like, is this, that, whatever, right? And you have to like really sit back and look at the full picture. We're not privy to the conversations that are in the room, but it's very likely that they're saying, hey, we're going to get this and this in the portal. We all are aware of that. You're still going to, or like you either, we see a place for you in your development, but like whatever, right? And some of these guys are making decisions for themselves, of course, of like what that could mean for them in the future. So, which is why I do think it could be ever changing. And he could be like, yeah, come on back. Like you needed to do what you needed to do. It helped us as well that you got more snaps because you wouldn't have gotten them here. And now come back to us. Now, yeah, there's certain players like, I don't, Parker's a different also because you went to OU. Like who does that? But, you know.
No, it's weird. He like retweeted an OU thing and I was like, all right, you're doing a lot and it's all too soon and too fast for me. But I'm so curious what y'all's thoughts are because it is not UT this time. The timeline was like, they're building the Avengers. This is national title implications. And then like other fan bases like the Aggies were like, haha, all over again. But I'm like, we are not saying it. Like the greater college football media are saying it. And I believe what they're saying. I think it's pretty valid, but what are y'all's thoughts on that? Because we just like went through that cycle and now it's like, okay, this is coming up again where we're going to be right there at the top.
I think this one hits a little different because of these guys that we're getting in from the portal are very established, right? Like they have the stats, they have the numbers, they've been performing. So that gives me a little bit more ease in my system versus like, we don't really know. We have so many new characters on the field. We don't know what they're going to do. And the confidence of like Cam Coleman can fit into anybody's offensive scheme. He can fit in with a quarterback. The man, I can't wait for like the top 10 performances I feel like that we're going to see after any given Saturday performance from him. But yeah, I think it's a little bit more welcome at this point now that we, you know, gaining some tenure on the roster.
Yeah, there was a good article that I read on Inside Texas by like talking about like snap count and what that may look like and what we're losing and what we're gaining. And of course, it's not all about that because it's still, you know, you want to see like what their percentages are, how they're actually doing. But it is very interesting to kind of like reshape your mind to think of it like that too and how important that is. And like we do, yes, like do we want to develop players? Absolutely. But like the name of the game is a little different now. And you also have to take these guys who have these tenures.
Yeah, I think I fully agree with Angie. And like I woke up and it just reminded me of 2024 and how confident we were in that team. You had players like Bond and Golden, and you know, we have Cam Coleman now, and it's just like, okay, cool. But the difference is it's not Arch's first campaign anymore. And so you start to put that together, all the feelings and fears we had at the running back position, we're getting an all new look at not only one, but two. And so I think that's such a big deal because we got the one and we were like, okay, cool. Like we're good. We hope we can get more, but if not, we're going to be okay. And so that second announcement was just like, oh, wow. Like we're actually really cooking now. And so I think that's why it's valid, right? Because it does remind me of that. And we went so deep into the postseason in 2024. And so fingers crossed that we can get to the playoffs and really just have a great time with this team.
Yeah, like you said, I think the ingredients are all coming in for Sark to really do what he does best in the offense. And I had another group chat that on, I guess, yesterday, they were talking about too of once we got Cam of, I hope that doesn't mean that we lose other wide receivers. And I was like, in my opinion, I feel like they should be excited about him coming into the room because that's going to open up so much more opportunity for them too, of if he's double covered or if all of these other options, right, that are going to give more potential to them to get more looks, which also makes me sad about Parker. I'm like, you didn't see that vision like that could have been for you of what it means to not be wide receiver one and the alpha receiver. You can get, so
that's what I said last week when we were talking about Parker. Like, yes, you're not 1 or 2, but you could be 3. Like, you don't know what that looks like, and people can get hurt. Like, Devin even mentioned how many snaps he got after Mosley got hurt. And then, think next year anything could happen, or he's being covered up. And so we need to throw another weapon in there. And yeah, the running back room, like we're talking about picking up 2, and we still have like Derek Cook coming in, and there's, that's why I was like, seeing Christian Clark was kind of like, oh, come on, man. Like, you just really did really well at the bowl game. But you get it, but still, yes, like we need multiple weapons, because you never know what can happen, and it fits like our scheme so well.
So they talked about what Angie mentioned, though, on the wide receiver side of things. I thought that this is where you were going with this, Angie, but I don't know if you saw it or not. So Ryan Wingo was walking lockstep with Cam Coleman the entire time for this process. They said he never lost contact with him. And so that was my first thought, too. I was like, you know what? I cannot wait for them to dial it up and Arch throw that ball down the field, because the first person who's going to benefit from Cam Coleman being on campus is Ryan Wingo. And it's just going to be really beautiful. I think it was Doc Talks Texas on Twitter was mentioning the Ohio State game. So I was fast forwarding to that time of year in 2026, and they were like, Jeremiah Smith versus Cam Coleman. And I was like, man, this is about to be amazing. It's going to be a night game. And I already want it to be that time now. Like, I'm excited again.
And I can't wait. I feel like just watching some of his highlight videos, I'm excited for his little celebration dances. I feel like he brings this different kind of energy to the field too. But yeah, I'm pumped.
And we keep talking about all these weapons, but like Arch in himself is a weapon, and what we've seen from him and bringing the difference. And I think that's a huge difference, of course, for what we'll see in 2026 versus 2024 as well. So.
Yeah. And I think like what you said, Devin, it is interesting in this day and age and how things have changed. And I feel like those very real, honest conversations that Sark and the coaches are having to have with these players, that is a positive, I feel like, to the transfer portal and things like that versus when we were in school. And it was just kind of like, we want to hold on to all of our talent and not let it go anywhere else. So that is a great thing. And I mean, even for life skills afterwards, right? Like, you now know how to have hard, difficult conversations with a boss or with somebody else, and you're ready to go outside of being a football player.
You know how I feel about that. And that is why I felt really strongly about Parker. It's like, at the end of the day, in real life, you can't go in the transfer portal. You sometimes just got to eat that, deal with it, get better, and develop yourself. And I mean, I just believe in that. Like, I believe in that grind. I believe in, like, how cool would it be if he would have been like, well, I was a starter. I was told I was not, and I'm sticking with the burnt orange because I believe in my brothers, my squad, and I believe I can fight for a role here. I mean, he was a redshirt freshman. Like, why not at least try that? So, I mean, I fully agree.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the flip side, like, yes, they're having these hard conversations, but then it's not like, they're not staying to fight. Some of them, I don't want to say, like, if you are entering, you're saying, okay, well, I'm not going to like sit here and fight for my position, which is what we had back in the day of like fighting and staying and doing that, which, like, true, like real world, like there's no just, let me, I mean, yes, you can see if the grass is greener and work white sometimes, but like, you never know what that could look like.
Yeah. I can also just see them, like, as soon as he gets on campus, he and Wingo and Arch being like, let's go play on the field. Like, let's just do some like crazy stuff and play around.
Yeah. Speaking of group chats, that's whose group chat I want to be in. It's like all of theirs now when it got announced. It's been fun to watch the players, comment on each other's stuff on social media.
Yeah, I'm excited for Arch. I think you mentioned it earlier, Michelle, because yes, I mean, we got to see it in the last 2 seasons. He is a great weapon. And I think that Sark took it so seriously to give him this really good final year so that we can see that it's not all on him. He'll be able to sit back there in the pocket, use his legs. He'll be able to have a lot of different options and looks that he didn't have before. So, I mean, I think we're going to see a whole different level to him, and I'm excited for him because he deserves that.
He does. We're ready to build a national championship team.
Well, I know. I think that's why, like you were saying, it's already out there. And of course, it's not us that are necessarily saying it, but everyone knows, of course. I mean, yes, that's what any team's trying to strive for. But like Texas, if anyone, has like been on that right there. How many years where you're like, it's time?
Well, this is what I said about everybody was like, haha, you guys aren't in the playoff. But would all of these things have been happening with our roster rebuild? Would we be able to be so precise and hit on all of these marks like we're wanting to had we been deep in a playoff run again? I mean, it is a long season when you do that. And so that's why we all agreed on the pod. We were like, yes, always we want to win the Natty. Yes, always playoffs, but it didn't work out for us. And I think all the fan bases from other schools were just like, haha, Texas. And we were like, we're proud of our team. Like the way that A&M game was, like, I'm proud of the fan base. I'm proud of us going out the way that we did. And like, there was nothing else we could have proven to the committee. So what do you do?
I'm glad we're in the place that we're in. Yeah. Give us the time. Because can you imagine like being Miami and Indiana, like you're preparing for a national championship. How are you even also preparing for a portal and like getting in other talent? It's crazy.
Speaking of that, did you see Baxter? He did a visit with Indiana. He ended up going to Kentucky, I believe. He signed with Kentucky, but he visited up at Indiana. And so who knows how they're juggling all of that, Angie, to your point. But I did see that. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, like come in for a visit. We're also just prepping for the Natty. Don't mind us.
That's what I was saying. Like even watching the games last week, they would be like, and this guy has entered the portal right now. He's in the portal right now. Or this guy they got from this school. Like there was so many already pieces of that in conversation where you're just like, how are you juggling all of those decisions and like trying to stay focused? I mean, it's the coaching carousel, like everything it's tough.
Yeah.
Gymnastics.
Well, to your point about how Sark feels portal wise, Curt Cignetti, the Indiana coach, he said that if players go in, they're still able to stay with the program and practice through the playoff run. And so it's like he had a whole different take on it. He wasn't necessarily kicking one out the door. You know, he's got a very unique coaching philosophy and obviously also comes from Saban's tree, as we all know. But it's been really cool to watch him. I look forward to next week. And if they pull it off, it will be, I think, 100 years since this has happened again with a 16-0 run. So I saw that and I was like, wow, are they really going to do it? I don't know. Also, did y'all see that Miami has Miami's biggest player versus Indiana's biggest player, like from offense, defense? There's like a huge discrepancy. So they were talking about that too. So I'm like, it's going to
be like Miami is bigger or smaller?
Bigger, like by a lot. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch that. It's been, speaking of like enjoying our time and what we've gotten to do as a team and everything else, it's also been like everyone being like, enjoy it from your couch. Yeah, we've had a great time watching all of these and seeing what we've done.
No, that's funny. You're like, watch it from your couch. I'm like, actually, that has been really, really nice. I'm like not tired. My bank account isn't on zero. I didn't have to book a flight. I'm not stressed out about like where I'm staying. I mean, yes, again, sad about not being in Miami. Frank kind of joked a couple of times and was like, you want to fly out for it? And I'm like, I don't want to even be in that chaos if my team isn't there, but I'm with you. Like, this has been very nice.
It's been great. And like our team is still cooking. Like we have all of the news still around our team and what they're gearing towards. And like, it's okay that this year just wasn't it for us.
And I think it's so like even the View, like it's so funny to me too when they talk about how they pick the teams that are going into the playoff. I'm like, Oregon just got handed. Like Indiana whooped up on them, and I know the viewership was bad. We all talked about that. We kind of like tuned out of it after a certain point. But again, another freaking point for them to look at. Like, pick the best 12 teams. Period.
Wow. That's why, unfortunately, when all of our ops decided to lose, that was really fun to watch, but it was also really bad for our conference because not only is the SEC not winning a national championship again, all of this, like, we should have 6 teams, we should have 5 teams, which was like the talk all this season. No one's going to let that ride, Angie. To your point, Oregon didn't do well, but like what leg will we even have to stand on as a conference to be like, you shouldn't have been in there, but like we should have when A&M and OU, y'all just like didn't take care of business. I mean, fortunately and unfortunately.
I know it's funny. Like we've all talked about like watching our ops, but they did. It literally got to a point I was having this conversation where I was like, oh no, but there's going to be no SEC in the like. Maybe we don't want that for our conference.
But we also proving like our points of like we beat A and B, you know.
Right. Well, that's what like I was, talking to. I was like, I still stand on business that we should have been in that top 12. Like I will still fight that till whenever if someone comes at me and is like, well, yeah, I'm like, mm-hmm. And you know how quiet everyone was once they made the announcement? Y'all had nothing to say because you agreed that we should. You just didn't want us in the 12.
I just think that the entire like 3-loss thing, like that was so unfortunate. And yes, like don't lose to Florida. We're very clear on that. But I mean, I fully agree with you that we should have been selected. And I just wonder, like, did they just not? Because they knew that if they did the 3-loss thing, it would have been like a pile on and also setting a precedent of a pile on and causing more mess. Because like, I don't know how much more messy it can get. It's messy anyway. So I was a little surprised. I was feeling like they were going to actually put us in. And then for us to not even get mentioned was like, oh, wow.
Well, when I saw that chairman talk, I knew there wasn't much question there anymore. You were like, well, okay, they're not actually thinking about this. Got it. Not paying attention to your number one bullet point of strength of schedule. We switched Miami and Notre Dame at the last minute. I told my committee to go rewatch the game once they were back to what?
They said they're going to change the rules, right? They said they should be doing that. They should be meeting soon. Let me look it up.
I sure hope so.
They said they were going to do something.
Well, people were also saying like part of the committee shouldn't be people that are part of universities right now, right? Like a little complicated. I don't know.
I can't find it, but I'll have to
pick. How do they pick the board?
I don't know that either. The committee, yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is a good topic though, because you said bowl. So I think another thing that everyone is thinking about and continuing to talk about with this year and last year in the expanded playoff is like where the game should be, how it should roll out. Because one thing that I thought about watching the what game was it? Indiana.
When did you text us that?
We were watching the Tech game.
Well, no, that too. But like even just this last Fiesta Bowl, I was like, gosh, Ole Miss just played in a bowl game like across the country, and now they're over here, and the fans, and just like honestly, the players too, how like tiring that is. And so everybody keeps on calling for not only the games to be played on campus from like an experience standpoint, but I do think that would be better for everybody, player and fan. And what they could do is still have the NY6 bowls be played like with the bowl season. Like we could have gone to an NY6 and like Miami and whomever, they would have been in the playoff and played like the home field advantage. So what are y'all's thoughts on that? Because I was like, that actually could be a good compromise because I know it's all about the money with the bowls, especially the NY6 ones. They don't want to switch things around.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to when we had our playoff game at home and just how freaking fun that was. I agree. I mean, it's hard when you're traveling that much and all over the place. And can your fans make it? Can they not? So if there is some other strategy behind it, I don't know how you, I guess, pick should if you do, should if you don't. I don't know. But if you could have them on campuses or something, that I think that it would be way more entertaining and people would, tune in a little bit more than just a random location. But then again, too, they do like the bowl experience of going, but
like you have a whole bowl experience for a week to do another one. I mean, it just seems like it's so much. And that's what it was. It was the Indiana-Oregon game. There was nobody from Oregon, and that's because the game was all the way at the freaking Peach Bowl and like way too far, and Indiana people could drive. And I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're gonna align things or
Yeah, we the like point of like when we questioned it when we've talked about it before is like, oh, but they're not going to get rid of those bowls. But the point that you were saying of like, but at least keeping them in the bowl system of some way, that could definitely be part of it. I don't know what they'll end up doing because like even if you do it at homes, it's still going to potentially be far for somebody. But I do think atmosphere wise and differences like that are.
Yeah, somebody made a big point about that though. Like they're saying how it's two different sports. Like during the season, it's like what we love, college towns, like home field advantage, like the game day experience, and then the bowl experience is this postseason, like completely different. Like Sugar Bowl, we loved it, we had fun. That is not like going to an Ohio State or like being in Austin, Texas. So yes, Michelle, absolutely, there would be like very limited fans from whatever lower seating, but I still think that's a better experience than like having teams go into multiple huge bowl games. Like I just wonder the media, like I would have to look into that because I'm like, aren't they tired?
Maybe
like,
they just do it for like the Final Four again, like have those.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't know.
Guess we'll see.
There has to be something.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about a national championship hopeful team for football. Another Longhorn team that we're hoping is making a natty run, but unfortunately just got their first loss. Our ladies basketball. I was so bummed to see them lose to LSU.
But it's still like there's still so many games left, still so early, and I thought about this as I was kept checking and being like, okay, they're still, undefeated, whatever. And then I was like, hey, like we talk about this all the time. How hard is that? Like, what did Devin just say as a stat for Indiana? Like doing that run isn't easy to keep up. And I mean, LSU, they're not playing around.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get tested. That's what happened in Nebraska volleyball. They lost, and that's not what you want. And so LSU is a great test. It was in a crazy environment, and so I wasn't very shocked. I would love for us to have the opportunity to go and avenge that loss on our home court, and I know we probably will. And so I thought it was interesting that Vic brought up the fact that he's really mad that we play South Carolina Thursday and it's also away. He was like, they should have fixed that. And I'm like, you know what? Let them go through the gauntlet. Like, I know it sucks. And I know he's seeing that as a huge challenge, but I think we need to see what this team is made of. They hadn't lost anything. And so it's like, they'll be fine. I want to see what they can do to get ready for UConn in the postseason. And hopefully we'll get that far. And I know that, the expectation is Final Four again. So can't wait for all of that.
Yeah, the PMAC is a wild place, just like Death Valley is. So I know that environment. But like you said, yeah, it's good for them to be tested now. We would rather them get it out of their system now than later in the season and know what that loss feels like. Yeah. But again, I mean, what was it the game before this one that they just destroyed the team like 90 something to 30 something? I was like, yikes.
Yeah, they're good. They're fun to watch too.
Yeah. So fun.
It'll be interesting where they go to too. We have a lot of fun things. Like people were talking about how we did really well in the portal for baseball as well. And then softball, is coming up, who again, like they should be really good this year too. So Texas sports is back.
Lots to look forward to.